Hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. Elizabeth Bangert, formerly known as Miss Anderson. Welcome to the virtual curriculum night. I am here to talk a little bit about each of the eighth grade classes for this school year. So I've created a PowerPoint presentation similar to what I did last year, just to talk through the curriculum plan, to give you a little information about myself, and hopefully answer any questions that you may have in relation to eighth grade science and eighth grade social studies. First and foremost, I would like to thank every one of you for sending your child to St. Antoninus. I know that it can be a big sacrifice for most families, so thank you very much for that sacrifice. I truly enjoy every moment. I'm so happy that we're back together in person finally. And I'm looking forward to a great school year. So just a bit about myself. I did go to St. Antoninus and I graduated in 2005. Antoninus was awesome enough that I decided to return. But after Antoninus, I attended Seton High School, and I ended up going on to play college lacrosse at Notre Dame College of Ohio, where I earned my bachelor's degree in middle childhood education with concentrations in science and social studies. This is my 7th year teaching and my 6th year at St. Antoninus. Time really flies. I can't believe this is already my 6th school year here. I am also the head varsity lacrosse coach at Seton High School. So if any of the 8th grade girls are interested in playing next year, let me know. Last summer, I was able to finish my master's degree in education, specializing in curriculum and instruction from Ohio University. And this past summer, as you probably know, since my name is different, I did get married. But overall, I absolutely love what I do, and I love your children. And like I said before, I'm really looking forward to an awesome school year with them. I just wanted to give you a picture of what my classroom setup looks like. I did create table dividers using St. Antoninus yard signs, so we have a nice little bit of school spirit in the classroom to be able to somewhat distance, keep the kids separated while they're at the lab tables. For 8th grade social studies, this is either Bells 1 or 2 for your child, depending on what class they're in. But this is just a brief curriculum map, and it gives a breakdown of things I like to accomplish each month. And on the next slide, I do explain that this is absolutely subject to change based on the group of kids and the pacing that's required as we go through these topics. So currently we are still on the historical thinking skills. We've been talking about things like primary and secondary sources, how to find reliable sources and identify them, just overall general skills that'll help them be successful in any history class. But in 8th grade social studies, we learn about American history, specifically like early America, and we try to get to the Civil War, if not to the Reconstruction. But again, that all depends on the group and the pacing that's required when we talk about certain things. So this is just additional info, like I had already stated. This is just an outline the curriculum map is for what I'd like to do each month. The children will not be receiving textbooks unless they are requested because of how heavy they are. Instead, I have set them up with an online account where they'll be able to access their textbook when we get to the point where we start using it more often. And it will be easily accessible right through Google Classroom, so there's no additional sign-in required, which is pretty awesome. All they have to do is the Google Classroom directly connects them with the online textbook, so they don't have to remember what website to go to or remember a password. As long as they're signed into their Google account, they'll be able to access it. In the classroom for science and social studies, We do a lot of individual, small group, large group, the combination of all three. I'm really challenging them to be independent thinkers. I like to serve as more of like a guide on the side and let them think their way through certain topics in class. Going back to Google Classroom, a lot of Google Classroom and viewing things online, doing videos, doing discussions, doing handouts online is going to be utilized this year, partly to prepare them for high school. But that's not to say that we won't be getting physical handouts, papers, but expect to see a lot of things on Google Classroom this year. There are two important bigger parts of social studies in 8th grade. The first thing I'd like to talk about, I know it's actually number 6, I ordered these wrong, but are the weekly current events. Now, this is something I am bringing into this school year, partly because I tried it in the past and I liked it, and then partly because there is a lot of important current events going on all the time that I think that they should be informed about. So each week, the students will turn in a weekly current event, just 2 paragraphs, and those requirements and expectations can be found on my webpage under important information. If you just click the link, you can see the requirements for each week. But if we are off school on a Friday, or if the student is absent on a Friday, they are expected to turn in that current event the day they return to school. The other big piece is the Washington, D.C. project, and this is probably one of my favorite projects ever. This is completed right before they leave for Washington, D.C., and each of them gets assigned a monument or memorial, etc., that they are going to see in Washington, D.C., and they present information about that memorial or monument to the class. And in years past, I've had the kids come back and actually say, wow, like the tour guides were so impressed of all the stuff that we knew, and they actually let us share some facts on the tours that we were taking on. So it's just a fun way also to get them excited for DC, since it is an exciting part of 8th grade year. The 8th grade science curriculum map, I forgot an important thing of social studies, sorry, is since this is an election year, we absolutely will be covering the election in some capacity. Now know that I will be teaching them the election process itself. We won't be necessarily diving into any of the things that might be controversial topics, but it is important that they understand the election process as it's happening, and we will be following it. So anyway, back to 8th grade science curriculum. This again, the curriculum map is definitely subject to change at any time. These are the things I would like to cover. As you can see in March, I would like to go back to the properties of matter topic that we started at the end of their 7th grade year when we were online. And I decided to stop that because a lot of it is better taught in person with hands-on activities. So we are going to wait till the end of their 8th grade year to cover that, because a lot of the topics can relate to high school topics that'll help them in the future. So I'd rather it be fresher in their minds than do it right away. So same thing as social studies. Google Classroom will be used a lot. BioID is the same as last year, if you can recall. It's just prefixes or suffixes that are assigned each week. There's 5 of them. And just to teach them those context clues that'll help them on HSPT, ACT, SAT, and beyond. And that will occur every Wednesday. And the big project in 8th grade science is the volcano project, which is during the Restless Earth unit, and it is so much fun. The kids love it every year. And we construct our own volcanoes and study volcanoes, or a specific volcano, I should say, and they present information about that volcano to the class. And then eventually, after a couple weeks of them being displayed, we take them outside and erupt them using like baking soda and vinegar. So it's always a fun activity that kids look forward to. Well, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to email me. My email has changed. It is no longer anderson@stantonius.org, but it is bangert@stantonius.org. And this presentation and video can be accessed on my webpage on the St. Antoninus website. Thank you so much for listening and looking forward to a great school year. Take care. Hello.